The interrogation chamber hummed with an eerie blue luminescence. Kevin sat bound to a crystalline chair, his wrists locked in energy restraints. The walls pulsed with bioluminescent patterns, living architecture that responded to the emotions of its sarcophagus occupants. He'd been captured 3 hours ago during a routine supply run to the outer colonies. His small cargo vessel intercepted by an entire battle cruiser. Now he waited, sweat trickling down his temple, wondering what the insectoid aliens wanted with a simple freight runner. The door dilated with a wet, organic sound. Kevin's breath caught. She was massive, nearly 8 feet tall, her chitinous exoskeleton gleaming like polished obsidian. Her arms moved with fluid grace, each tipped with razor-sharp talons. Her multifaceted eyes glowed amber in the dim light, and the crown of neural tendrils atop her head marked her as royalty. Queen Shkara of the Zarkothi Hive Collective. Behind her stood 2 guards and a smaller figure, perhaps 5 feet tall. Younger, with similar features but a more delicate build, the queen approached slowly, her mandibles clicking in the Zarkothi language. A translator implant in Kevin's ear rendered her words. "Human, you stand accused of trespassing in Sovereign Hive space. I was following registered trade routes." Kevin protested, his voice steadier than he felt. "I have all the proper clearances." Silence. One of her talon hands raised. "You will speak when questioned, not before." Kevin clamped his mouth shut. The Zarkothi had been humanity's enemies for 2 decades. The war had ended 5 years ago with an uneasy truce, but tensions remained high. Being caught in their space, even legally, was dangerous. The queen circled him like a predator examining prey. "I could have you executed for the crimes your species committed against mine. Entire hive cities burned by your weapons, and your ships glassed 3 of our colonies." Kevin shot back, unable to stop himself. "We both lost people." The smaller Zarkothi stepped forward, her voice softer. "Mother, please." Look at him carefully. Queen Shkara's eyes narrowed, all 8 of them. She leaned closer, and Kevin could smell the sharp, metallic scent of her breath. Several long seconds passed, then her entire demeanor changed. The aggressive posture melted away. Her mandibles trembled. When she spoke again, her voice carried a weight of emotion that the translator struggled to convey. "Do you recognize me? Human?" Kevin blinked, confused. "What?" "No. I'd search your memory. 13 years ago. The contested moon of Theta Cygni 7. Theta Cygni 7. Kevin's mind raced backward. He'd been just 19, a medic attached to a marine reconnaissance unit. The moon had been a hellscape of trenches and bombardment craters. They'd been pinned down for weeks, losing soldiers daily to Zarkothi raids. "I don't understand," Kevin whispered. The smaller Zarkothi moved closer. "I was there," she said softly. "I was dying." And then it hit him like a plasma bolt. 13 years ago, the crater had been filled with toxic fumes from a chemical strike. Kevin had been separated from his unit, stumbling through the smoke with his medical kit. When he'd heard the sound, a high-pitched keening that cut through the chaos of battle, he'd found her wedged between 2 boulders. Her exoskeleton cracked, green blood pooling beneath her. A juvenile Zarkothi, probably separated from her patrol. By all rights, he should have left her or ended her suffering quickly. Instead, Kevin had knelt beside her. "Easy," he'd murmured, even though she couldn't understand. "Easy now." His hands had trembled as he'd applied synthetic chitin patches to her wounds, working from his emergency xenobiology manual. The biological foam sealed her cracks. He'd shared his water ration, dripping it carefully into her mandibles, when she'd finally stopped keening. When her eyes had focused on him with something like awareness, Kevin had pointed toward the Zarkothi lines. "Go, before someone sees." She'd fled into the smoke, and he'd never seen her again. He'd never told anyone. Saving an enemy combatant could have meant court-martial. "You," Kevin breathed, staring at the smaller Zarkothi. "You were just a juvenile. I thought you'd die anyway." Princess Shkar, he realized now who she must be, stepped forward and gently touched his face with one delicate talon. "You saved my life when you had every reason to let me perish. When your kind and mine were slaughtering each other, you chose mercy." Queen Shkara's voice rumbled with barely contained emotion. "For 13 years, my daughter spoke of the human with gentle hands who pulled her from death. I thought it a trauma-induced fantasy. We searched, but could never find you. And then, the princess continued. 3 hours ago, our biometric scanners detected DNA traces in your captured vessel that matched residual samples from my old wounds. The synthetic compounds you used, they were human-made, distinctive. We ran genetic profiles from the war's medical corps database. Kevin's heart hammered. So this was, what, a test? You were going to execute me if I was the wrong person. No, the Queen said firmly. If you were not him, you would have been detained and released. But you are him. She gestured, and the energy restraints dissolved. Kevin Marquez, formerly Corporal Marquez, medical specialist, 3rd Marine Reconnaissance Division. Kevin rubbed his wrists, standing on shaky legs. The Queen's forearms spread wide in what he recognized as his Arcothy gesture of profound respect. You saved my only child, my heir. Without her, the succession war would have torn my hive apart. You preserved not just her life, but the stability of my entire kingdom. I couldn't leave her there, Kevin said quietly. She was scared. She was just a kid. And that, Princess Shkara said, her mandibles forming what might have been a smile, is why you are extraordinary. In the midst of hatred, you saw a person. Queen Shkara's voice resonated with authority. Kevin Marquez, the Zarkothi Hive Collective owes you a debt that can never be fully repaid. But we will try. You will have safe passage through all our territories, in perpetuity. Your trade routes are guaranteed. And more, you will be named Karshan, Hive Friend, the first human to receive such honor. Kevin felt tears prick his eyes. I don't need rewards. I'm just glad she survived. Nevertheless, the Queen said, you will have them. And perhaps ... double quotes, her tone softened. Perhaps you will help us understand how to build peace. If a young soldier could show mercy in war's darkest hour, then perhaps our peoples can learn to do the same. The princess extended her hand, a gesture learned from humans. Kevin took it. Thank you, she whispered, for seeing me when I was invisible, for being human in the best way possible. Kevin smiled through his tears. You're welcome, and for what it's worth, I'm glad I found you that day too. In a galaxy still healing from war, one act of compassion had rippled forward through time, transforming enemies into friends, and proving that sometimes the most human thing one could do was choose kindness when it cost everything. End.